This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in places that could expose you to identity theft. That's why LifeLock monitors millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, their US-based restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
What's up, friends? This is Ralph Amsden. You are listening to the ASU Forecast on the 1012 Podcast Network, and we are brought to you by Charlie Hustle Clothing Company. And you know what? If you have been on Charlie Hustle, you realize that the ASU merchandise, it's flying off the shelf. But this podcast is brought to you by our friends at Charlie Hustle, a vintage-inspired clothing company based out of Kansas City that specializes in collegiate and hometown apparel. Charlie Hustle loves the Big 12 Conference. We're the Big 12 champions. And so they want us, as fans of the Big 12 champion, Arizona State University Sun Devils, to be the best dressed this postseason. They got a wide selection of officially licensed collegiate apparel. That includes us. You can use the promo code 101215 for 15% off all non-sale items. They got more than 30 schools to choose from, so if you're one of those, you like to wear some Iowa State stuff on special occasions, they got you covered. If you're a divided household, but if you're all maroon and gold, they got you as well. You can shop at charliehustle.com. Use the promo code 101215 for 15% off all non-sale items. Again, that's charliehustle.com. Promo code the word 10 TEN. The number 12, number 15 for 15% off all non-sale items. You can also get 15% off as a first-time buyer, so you use both discounts. Let them know Forecast sent you. That's Charlie Hustle, vintage made fresh. And if you have been attempting in any way to get any championship merchandise, it's a great way to kick off the podcast. Talk about our sponsor and the fact that they sold out pretty quick of their Big 12 championship apparel that they made. But you know, we had a Sun Devil Spaces. Sun Devil Spaces has been great the last 3 weeks. Had a Sun Devil Spaces last night where people had the opportunity to complain a little bit about the apparel situation. I know I went on Adidas, who officially licensed stuff for Arizona State. We're an Adidas school. You'd figure they'd have something better than just a hoodie with a 2025 college football playoff logo on it, and a white t-shirt that says Big 12 champs. I did not care. I bought them both, and they're not the best. There's certainly better things out there. State 48 just rolled out a conference championship shirt. Our guy Troy at Cactus Sports came on Sun Devil Spaces, talked a lot about what it's like right now running an apparel shop and all of the work that he's just been hoping to do over time. He has this opportunity these couple of weeks before Christmas to work himself to death, and it sounds like he's taking that opportunity. But he gave some really, really great insight. He was on the Speak of the Devils podcast this week as well, if you get an opportunity to listen to that. And then there's Streaker Sports. There's a lot of apparel companies out there that do some pretty neat Arizona State stuff. I do like Charlie Hustle Clothing Company. Not just a sponsor. Congratulations to Chin Lee, by the way, who won our contest for the free t-shirt. For sharing. I'm sure we'll have more in the future. But the apparel side, everybody's working to grab up as much Big 12 championship apparel as they can. Because I think as millennials, we understand nostalgia. I have all this stuff from 87, from 97. There's people who have their Peach Bowl stuff out from the last time Arizona State was there. So I think we understand nostalgia to the point where we know we're going to have future nostalgia. And so people are trying to grab up as much of these items as possible. The more, the merrier. And anytime Charlie Hustle comes out with anything, you can be sure that on this podcast, I will let you know about it. But love seeing all the stuff that Cole Streeper does with uniformity, and the things that are being added to what people are wearing is very, very cool. Because who would have thought that a year and a half ago, Arizona State would be in the Big 12, much less be Big 12 champions, much less be in the college football playoff, much less have a bye and be in the Peach Bowl. So all of these things are incredible, and anything that you can do to soak up that moment, including buying apparel, I highly advise you to do. If you got disposable income and you know somebody who doesn't, kick them a shirt or a hat or something like that, because it has been very, very fun to celebrate with other Sun Devil fans. And one of the things that I've talked about is, you hear Nick Saban when he was at Alabama all of the time talk about how praise was just rat poison, right? The praise from the media about how good Alabama was going to be. He was always afraid that his players were going to see too much of that overdose on rat poison and not come out prepared. So the burden of a great team would be, to stay motivated, right? And one of the biggest motivating factors was future earnings. Like that was always a thing you could dip into with a collegiate athlete. Now a lot of these collegiate athletes have money. So you get into the burden of like, okay, so how do you stay hungry and fed at the same time? And coaches, like Kenny Dillingham, have a really, really interesting burden, a burden that somebody like Kenny Dillingham, I'm sure, welcomes. How do you get good players and keep them hungry? That's the gig. You're paid handsomely to do that gig. But Nick Saban would talk all about this rat poison and praise. And, it wasn't good for the players, and it's not necessarily good for the fans, because your expectations get adjusted as fans. One of the things Nick Saban would always complain about, I don't have a lot of sympathy for it, but he would complain about the fact that Alabama fans don't want to show up for their November game against Chattanooga or their November game against the Citadel, because they just expect to win. The expectations have been risen, right? So I would love to have those kind of problems at Arizona State 3-4 years down the road when, EA Sports NCAA style, we've won 3 national championships in a row, and we're faced with the burden of activating an apathetic valley from being too full on success. I would love for that to be the case. Right now, Arizona State is a team that went from 3-9 to the college football playoff. And my advice to fans is to eat and drink and ingest and snort, if you have to, enough of this rat poison to get you through this holiday season. Anytime anybody praises Cam Scatterbo, anytime Kenny Dillingham gets nominated for an award, any postseason accolades that Jordan Tyson gets, anytime that we get news of a transfer coming in, like Jalen Moss from Fresno State, who could be a fantastic player for ASU, anytime we get any news like that, go crazy. Absolutely go crazy. Read all the content. Listen to all the podcasts. Watch people online get into fights about, is this player better than the other? Join in those fights. Do everything you can in December, because this is not a thing that we get to experience very often. And I'm not saying that like it's all going to go away and the carriage is going to turn back into a pumpkin. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that your body can ingest a lot more poison when it's young and it's got that plasticity. We're new to winning. A pretty decent size chunk of the fan base has 2013 Pac-12 South championship game host. Like that's the last level of postseason success. We have losing in Corvallis in 2014 and losing an opportunity at the college football playoff. If you're a little bit older, you have, 07 Holiday Bowl and the argument that maybe Arizona State should have gotten more respect than they had. If you're a little bit older than that, then you have maybe, 2004, 1997, 1987. My point is, this is usually a once in every 10-year moment for Arizona State. And I think we're going in the right direction with an alumni head coach, with an alumni and athletic director. I think a lot of good things are going to continue to happen for Arizona State. But what I am telling you is it's okay. A little bit of rat poison, a lot of rat poison for the end of 2024. February 1st, 2025, we'll go on a diet. We'll start counting ourselves as the underdog. We'll start talking to each other online like people who need to be taught how to handle success. We will get to that stage. But as far as it goes right now, we're the greatest team in the world. We're never going to lose again. Might never allow a point again. Every 5-star recruit wants to come to Arizona State. We have all of the best alumni, all of the best humans, greatest school colors, perfect stadium, Perfect weather. Nothing has ever gone wrong in the history of Arizona State. Nothing will ever go wrong again. We are flying high, and that's perfectly fine. And we got 10 more days, 12 more days before we even have to wake up to any different kind of reality. So celebrate, enjoy this holiday season. Go nuts. Like I said, subscribe to both Devil's Digest and Sun Devil Source. Forget that they're the mortal competitors. Listen to every podcast. Get in Jimmy Kimmel and David Spade's mentions. Tell them to go back to ASU and finish their degree. Go crazy. There is no such thing as rat poison in my mind. For anybody who has listened to Sun Devil Spaces the last couple of weeks, it's been a lot of fun. 2 weeks ago, we had Graham Rossini on. I'm going to play that interview as part of this podcast and hope that he doesn't get mad. And then we had a cool conversation with Demario Richard last week, and I think I'm going to play that one as well. Sun Devil Spaces is a lot of fun. It's on Twitter/X, whatever you want to call it, every Wednesday night, and it's an awesome opportunity for fans to come in, exist in community, talk to each other, get takes off. We got a really, really good group of people. We're always welcoming new people. And the really cool thing about the last 3 weeks is, for a long time there, this has, been going on about 4 years of Sun Devil Spaces. For a long time there'd be about 20 people in the room, 8 or 9 wanting to talk. And we would commiserate. And the last couple of weeks, I don't know about last night, but the 2 weeks before that, within 24 hours of Spaces being up, we've had more than 1,000 people who either listened live and or came back and listened in the morning. And then beyond that, we had 2 weeks ago, we had 26 people that wanted to get on and talk and engage and hang out. And, some of our regulars, like, ASU basketball color analyst Kyle Dodd, former ASU basketball player, he's been there through it all. And it's been a lot of fun to see. Last year he was telling us, hey, we got to just keep coming to Spaces because when all else fails, we have each other, giving us the pep talk to just stay ASU fans. And here we are, basketball looking great, volleyball conference champions, football conference champions, and we're on Spaces having the time of our lives. We get Gus Farwell from Spain in there. We get Demario Richard. We had Ben Coleman on the other night, ASU offensive lineman Ben Coleman on. We got local business owners who come on there, fans who are current students, fans who were students in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s. It's like a great mixed radio station, the hits of the 70s, 80s, 90s, and today. But it's been just an awesome intergenerational, countrywide spanning experience. And also, it's not like this podcast where you just have to listen to me talk the entire time. But I do appreciate anybody who takes time to listen to the forecast. It's been a lot of fun to make this show as well. And one of the things that I want to talk about today is not whether or not we face Clemson or Texas, because we're going to encounter that soon. We're going to know. I personally want to play Texas. That just is what it is. I have a firm belief that when it comes to a basketball tournament, your seeding matters, because you're talking about the difference between a 9 and a 10 on one side of the bracket, or you have a play-in game, or what regional you go to. All of those things matter. In football, every football playoff all time has really just felt like whichever team is the best and the luckiest is going to win. There's never been a Super Bowl champion. There's never been a college football playoff champion where I have said, oh, that's not one of the best teams. That's not an elite team. There have been NFL Super Bowl champions who have not had great quarterback play. Your 2000 Ravens, your 2002 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Guess what both of them had? The best defense in the league, right? So in some element, they were the absolute best. When it comes to football, I believe that in some element, you have to be the best or among the very best, and you got to have a little bit of good fortune when it comes to timing, injuries, stuff like that. I think Florida State would have had a decent shot last year before Jordan Travis went down and the wheels fell off that whole thing. So you do have to have a little bit of luck as well. And that's the thing I love about football. And so I don't care the order that, if you wanted to give us Oregon right off the bat, I would take it. And that's not just me being happy to be here. That's me saying, The Sun Devils are like napalm white hot right now. Let's play as soon as possible, and let's play the best team imaginable, because I think ASU playing at their best is dangerous to anyone, right? But I look at this and I say Clemson or Texas, and there's a lot of people who believe Clemson is the worst team, so they want to face Clemson. Clemson happens to be about a 75-minute drive from Atlanta, Georgia. I have a feeling they're going to fill that stadium out if they get the opportunity. So it doesn't matter who's there. It's all going to present some unique challenge. But I look at Texas and I see a team that has allowed 4 touchdown passes and 19 interceptions. That's one of the best ratios I've ever seen in my life. But then you go through the quarterbacks they played this season, junk, 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 junk. Carson Beck having a brain dead game. Junk, junk, junk. Carson Beck hurt elbow, right? Like, they have not played very many good quarterbacks. And so that has contributed to them having this historic run. Remember, this is the same Texas secondary that gave up, when they lost in the college football playoff last year, they gave up 450 yards to Michael Penix. All of a sudden they retool and put together the greatest secondary in the history of college football? I don't think so. I think that, like I mentioned before, they're a very good team who has also been lucky to some extent. Arizona State also has a bunch of former Texas players. They recruit the state of Texas. And so, I think it would be an important game for Arizona State to go in and win. You probably saw Zach Swanson talk about on social media. Texas came to him and told him, hey, your best bet to stay a University of Texas student is to quit the football team, because you're never going to see the field. So he comes to Arizona State. He's a contributor. Now he wants to play against Texas. So it's actually important to some of our players. Does Texas have good players? Yes. I'm higher on Quinn Ewers than a lot of people, I think. And I do believe that Colin Simmons is the best edge rusher on the planet, even though he's a freshman. So, they've got guys who are super dangerous, but to take them on in Atlanta, I say give me anyone, but I think Texas would be a much more important victory for Arizona State to have that opportunity to beat Texas. And I think it would prepare them for Oregon. So who I believe will be waiting for them in Texas on January 10th, 2025, if all of this comes to fruition. So I'm a fan of playing Texas, but I said that I wasn't going to talk too much about that. I did it anyway. It's kind of a thing I do. However, the thing that I really, really want to talk about is just this Arizona State team and the way they're holding together through a postseason in which a lot of players would have a better opportunity elsewhere, either monetarily or playing time wise, by getting into the portal. We've seen a lot of Arizona State players announce that they're going into the portal. Very few of them are regular contributors. Maybe Marcus and Douglas as a blocking tight end would be the number one guy on that list. Kenny Dillingham has a really unique perspective on what to do with these players, because you have a player commit to another team, they're not committed to you. That's conventional wisdom, right? But because of the timing of all of this, Kenny Dillingham says, hey, if you want to practice with us, you want to get in the portal, and your future team is cool with you practicing with us, great. We will keep you around. If you're going to have a better opportunity elsewhere, you were going to jump in the portal regardless, I will support you in that. And I think that there's a few ways to think about this. One is the very negative view that Kenny Dillingham is somehow being like a cuckold in all this, of like watching other people come and get his players and not doing anything about it. That's incredibly cynical. I disagree with it to the absolute fullest that I could ever disagree with anything. Another one is that he's politically savvy. Much, much more likely Kenny Dillingham, who we've watched make a bunch of politically savvy moves, is very politically savvy in the way that he's saying, hey, we don't want you to go. Some of you, you're welcome to go. We weren't going to use you that much anyway, but you're welcome to go if you want to stick around and practice. We'd love to have you if it gives you a better opportunity to find your future destination to be in the portal now. I will support you in that. That's going to make everybody that matters, not the fans, but the future players, future prospects, that's going to make them happy. That's going to have Kenny Dillingham stand out above everybody else. Like one car dealership offers a warranty up to 100,000 miles while everybody else does 50,000 miles. There's a thing that's going to make you consider this car dealership over the rest. Kenny Dillingham, with his attitude on the portal, being forward thinking, it sets him apart. It is a very politically savvy move. The other thing is, and I'm going to propose this as what's actually going on, and I know that there's a lot of very jaded football fans who will listen to this. Well, now I'm assuming that a lot of people listen to this, but there's going to be jaded football fans that listen to this that disagree with me. Hear me out on this. This is where I land. I think he means it. I think he means it. I think that Kenny Dillingham, as a 34-year-old who grew up watching football be covered, being a fan of college football, watching the way that people talk about college football coaches, watching college football coaches reach a certain level of success that allows them to secure the bag, to go to a level in which there can only be one champion. But if you're making $10 million a year, you're willing to risk the degradation of your legacy. You're willing to risk your legacy in order to cash that check. I think Kenny Dillingham watched this happen again and again and again. Let's think about the $10 million coaches, right? Dabo Swinney got there by winning. He is now looked at a lot differently, as they have not embraced the portal. They've struggled to stay on the level they were at with Trevor Lawrence. The interesting thing about Dabo Swinney is he stood in the same place for so long that people are kind of coming back around to his way of thinking, which is that you do need to develop prospects. But Dabo is also taking kids out of the portal for the very first time. So even he sees that there needs to be some type of balance. But Dabo is one of those $10 million coaches. People don't think about him the same way they thought about him 5 years ago. Think about how people thought about Mike Norvell at this time last year. He became the 8-figure club annually. Think about how they think about him now. After a 2-10 season in which he renegotiated his contract, fired a bunch of assistants, and is kicking in $4.5 million of his own money into Florida State's NIL fund. Think about Brian Kelly, Mr. 10-11 win season, who is now mired in mediocrity with the inability to field a defense or craft a running game at Louisiana State University. He's in the $10 million club. Think about Jimbo Fisher, biggest buyout in history, lauded as one of the all-time greats, winning a national championship with Jameis. Think about how many coaches have upgraded to get the bag only to have their legacy diminished and then to come back around. Look at Rich Rod. Rich Rod went from West Virginia, 42-5 in his last 3 seasons. He goes to Michigan, fails. He goes to Arizona, morally fails. He goes to Jacksonville State, rebuilds that entire program. And now where is he? He's back at West Virginia. Look at Scott Frost. And I don't think anybody in the world can blame Scott Frost for going home to Nebraska, where he was the quarterback, and attempting to drag that program out of mediocrity. He failed to do it. And now where is he? He's back at the program that he springboarded from, UCF, going 13-0. I think Kenny Dillingham is smart enough to see these cycles and realize that he has the opportunity to do something that every football fan craves. Have a coach that loves their university as much as you do, and you're not having to lie to yourself that they're not going to leave. You're not having to lie to yourself that if your school can't pay market value, that someone's going to come take every single one of your assistants. I think Kenny Dillingham understands that. And so, yeah, he's politically savvy, but at the same time, I think he believes it. I think he watched coaches continue over and over and over and over again to do what was in their own best interest. Lincoln Riley moving to the beach. All of a sudden, he got 6-6 seasons back to back with a Heisman winner. I think that he understands that he's passionate about Arizona State. He believes everything he says about what Arizona State can be. He's watching his beliefs come to fruition. And he looks at these players who he's a lot closer in age to than most coaches. And he says to himself, I think this can be done differently. And I think it's hypocritical of me to ask something of my players that we've never asked of coaches. which is to not participate in the revenue, which is to not do everything you can to put yourself in the best position for yourself. Kenny Dillingham school hopped. He went from Memphis to Auburn to Florida State to Oregon, all in an effort to get back here. So when Marcuston Douglas says, I want to get closer to home for my senior year, and Kenny Dillingham tells him, yeah, roll with us through the college football playoff. I'm going to help you get back to Florida State. To my old boss, Mike Norvell, I'm going to get you back there. I don't think he sits in his office and MFs Marcuston Douglas for not wanting to be a Sun Devil. I think he genuinely gets it. So anyway, that's my whole rant. I don't want to, have this be a 2-hour show or anything like that. That's what spaces are for. That's, I'm here talking to myself, but I did want to point out the fact that what Kenny Dillingham is doing right now is unprecedented. Yes, but it shouldn't be. Coaches should never have gotten so high on their own supply that they forget student athletes have the same basic motivations as them. Security, playing time, like they want to matter, right? Kenny Dillingham moved 2 different times to get an offensive coordinator job that actually involved him calling the plays. So I think that Kenny Dillingham, I think he understands people. And someday all this money might give him the gold sickness from Lord of the Rings, and he might forget. We all forget. We all forget what it's like to be young. We all forget what things that we're intrinsically motivated by. We all get high on our own supply. Maybe that day will come from Kenny Dillingham, but it's not right now. And it's what makes him different. Maybe someday he'll play it safe, but for right now, he's the same 4th-and-1 gambler. He's the same person who gave up play calling duties to Bo Baldwin and Marcus Arroyo, even though a lot of people said, you're the whiz kid OC, you should be calling these plays. You should be having as much responsibility over the process as possible. He said, no, I want to be a head coach. And to be a head coach, I got to give those things up. That was a gamble. He had a quarterback in place, and I talked about it a lot. If you ever listen to me, I'm like, Trenton Bourguet, he's proven. And Kenny Dillingham takes the risk of saying, this team needs a multi-year starter with an alpha attitude. We're going to go out and get somebody who might not be ready to win right now, might not be the most accurate guy right now, but we have to get him the reps, and we're going to bet on him. They put all their eggs in the Sam Levitt basket. That's not a thing that I would have done. I would have played it safe. I disagreed with it vehemently through the first half of the season. But Kenny Dillingham said, no, like my vision for this program is to have somebody who has the demeanor of a Bo Nix, who can be a multi-year starter that I can sell to other people who want to come play with a good quarterback, and then set the precedent to have multiple multi-year starters. I don't want to be a Louisville on these 1-year rentals. I don't want to be a Kentucky on these 1-year rentals. That was a gamble. He's a gambler. He stayed true to himself. And so that's just pretty much it. That's the one thing that I wanted to talk about on this episode of the Forecast, is that Kenny Dillingham right now has his ear to the ground. He's tapped into the vein of college football culture, and he gets it. And because he gets it, we're in this position. And I'm very, very grateful this holiday season to have one of us as the head coach of Arizona State University. I know I've mentioned Spaces a few times. Maybe you've heard me refer to Kenny Dillingham as Kenny from Spaces because he used to be in there too. He is interested and invested in this community, and we're reaping the benefits of that, and it's very cool. So we're going to end this podcast. I'm going to play a couple of interviews for you, both from Sun Devil Spaces. First, Athletic Director Graham Rossini, please, and Demario Richard as well. 2 of my favorite interviews from Sun Devil Spaces over the last 2 weeks. Enjoy them both. Forks up, and the next time we have a podcast, we'll be breaking down Arizona State's opponent in the Peach Bowl. That should be about 1 week from today. Forks up.
But we do have a special guest today, Mr. Graham Rossini, your athletic director for the Arizona State Sun Devils. Athletic Director Graham Rossini, how are you doing tonight?
Longtime fan, first-time Spaces caller. What's up, everybody?
Hey, it's good. It's good to have you in here. Good to hear from you. We certainly appreciate everything you've done and how in tune you've been with the fan base, how engaged you've been. I got attached on an email that was sent to you from a Mr. Will Novak that was no less than 5,000 words, and I'm sure you read every single word of it. Again, we really appreciate the job you're doing and the fact that you're here today. What are your plans for this Saturday? You heading out to Arlington?
Well, first of all, ironically, I'm at home trying to clean up the email inbox, which has been a challenge in the role. But Will, I owe you a response to that email. I know there's a lot of great thoughts in there. I just haven't had time to give you a constructive and appropriate response. So that's may not come tonight, but it's on my to-do list. So thank you for the great thoughts, and it was verbose in detail and some great ideas in there. But a lot of familiar names on the screen here. So just want to say what's up to everybody. And I've had a blast interacting on Twitter. It's been a cool way to get feedback. It's been a cool way, hopefully, to show some personality of the department and me as, probably a relative unknown, even though I've been around. Andrew gave me a shout out earlier today with the reminder. So Andrew, thanks for the prompt to jump on tonight. But yeah, we're heading out Friday. We're kind of treating this like a normal road trip. So mid-afternoon Friday, get on the bird. I think we landed to Dallas around 5:00, and then team will really be locked in on a pretty typical road travel. Get to the hotel, get some meals, get some treatment. All that's going on. We've also got finals starting this weekend, so we'll have a number of guys taking finals at the hotel. So imagine that you're competing for conference championship and squeezing in some times for fall finals as a part of it, and then early morning on Saturday. So not a whole lot of time on the ground, but we're going to try to maximize our presence. I'll head over to the stadium right when we land to check in with the conference, and commissioner's got a reception, and then I'm hoping to get over to Cold Beers in Euless, Texas afterwards to kind of check out the group that's there. And then Tim Hovick, if you haven't heard, has taken over the greater DFW area. So he's bought a ton of tickets. He's really made an incredible investment in getting some media members out to the area for a radio row of sorts. And Saturday morning, everybody will be kind of posted up at Texas Live, which is a really cool spot. If anybody hasn't been there, between the Rangers ballpark and AT&T Stadium, it'll be a really good place to be. So yeah, Ralph, we're fired up, man. It'll be here before we know it. It's been a really long week. There's been a lot going on. Really proud of our team for just turning around stuff that we do 9 months in advance in about 48 hours. So a lot of people working really hard on behalf of this football team, and you all should know that and be proud of the effort that everybody's putting in to get these guys ready to play.
I've heard we got like 16, 17,000 Sun Devil alumni in the DFW area. I know you're from Texas. I know this is a very special thing for you to be participating in. I hope everybody takes full advantage of everything that's available to them to make some memories. I did have one question for you. Don't want to take up too much of your time. And I would love to get you in here someday and let a couple of people here. We just love to ask you a question. Not inundate you, but we'll screen them. Yeah. But I do want to ask you, as an observer of this team, we all have something that we've really latched onto, that we find unique, that we love about this team. For me, the defensive backs and how disciplined they've played, and Shamari Simmons. I love the electric play of Miles Rouser and Keith Abney. What's one thing about this team that stood out to you that just gets you excited to watch Sun Devil football?
Well, I think it's more of a credit to the culture on the team, and we sadly won't be able to watch him play this weekend, but there's a couple of Jordan Tyson moments that really stick out for me over the course of the year. So early on, my wife Allison was on one of the trips. I can't remember if it was Texas State or Texas Tech, but she got to meet Jordan's parents after the game, and it was just a neat interaction, a good chance to say hello and meet his parents and start to build that relationship. And his mom asked a question. She's like, "Hey, how does he behave himself? Like, is he representing the family well?" And obviously he has been. He's been an incredible teammate. He's been a great addition to this program. And so it tells you where he came from and how he was raised and the kind of environment that his family has provided for him. And that was kind of a cool moment that stuck out early on, of like, that just was a unique question. I like the fact that the parents are thinking about it that way. I like that was the interaction between my wife and his parents, and it was just something that she was proud to report back. And then for me, I think the turning point in the year when we really knew there was something brewing, it wasn't that long ago. I mean, obviously week by week, there's all this excitement happening, but after we beat K-State, the locker room after the game was just electric. I think there was a video of Leaf giving me a hug, and I totally thought he knocked out a tooth in that interaction. I got like a chest plate to the lower lip, and was pretty sure there was a tooth coming out in that moment. But anyhow, we, grin and bear it, get in the locker room, and then Jordan jumps up on top of the lockers. I think there might have been a video of this that got out there as well, and
there very much is.
he's dancing on top of the lockers, and my first thought is like, all right, these are the bad PE metal lockers that everybody remembers from high school, and he's still got his cleats on, and like, who knows how stable they are, who knows what's going on, but he's like full-blown dance move. Scat gets up there, Levitt gets up there, and you start thinking like, what is happening right now? Just get these guys down without any incident. And then obviously they did, and just the energy in that room that night, I think that was the moment where you're like, okay, this team is literally capable of anything. They believe in each other. They believe in their coaching staff. They are proud to represent ASU. And at that point, like, all bets are off. So couple moments, Ralph, I don't know if that directly answers the question, but just kind of the tone of how this kept building and building. And then I think I mentioned two moments. The other one would be the UCF game. We obviously didn't play our best football, but that game to me demonstrated that this team has a will to win. They just have something in the form of an X factor. Cole kind of mentioned something along those lines too, where we weren't going to get beat by UCF, and we didn't play our best football, and it just wasn't a sharp game, and we were just gotten bowl eligible, and there just wasn't. It was a weird game, right? The crowd was weird. The game time was odd. Just something fell off, and it would have been easy to just be complacent. It would have been easy to say, yeah, we're bowl eligible. Whatever we're doing now is house money. Let's just, let's kind of go through it. But they battled. And when you win a game, when you don't play your best, I think that's when you really learn something about the intestinal fortitude of the guys, of the nature of the program, the way that the coaches can kind of reformat a game plan real time, making those adjustments that set up a team to win. So anyhow, a couple thoughts. I agree with Cole. Who knows what we do from here? And it doesn't feel like it's even close to being over. And that's a fun and powerful emotion to be thinking about and harnessing. But something special is brewing, and we'll keep riding it as long as we can. And again, shout out to everybody that's here with us tonight. The support has been incredible. The energy that you all provide for this team, it's a big reason we're in this situation. The energy, they feed off of it. The home game atmosphere has been incredible. Kenny said this a lot, that needs to become the norm, right? The love of ASU, a great time in the stadium. We're going to keep obsessing over the different parts of game day that we can control and improve and make better and really focus on that. But I think when Sun Devils come together, this is the kind of stuff that we want to be happening. And that's our commitment. That's our driving factor in everything that we spend time every single day thinking about. Is just, this can't be a flash in the pan. And we just got to build a foundation that we just keep adding to and tweaking and refining and building and growing, because we're starting to see what's possible when the ASU community comes together for a purpose.
Well, we're grateful for your time tonight and for your heart for the university. And, your guy with the D-backs says that a connected team is a dangerous team, but I genuinely believe that this team, they don't want to let the party die, and it doesn't have to die. And I feel everything you said, that really felt like maybe not a turning point at Kansas State, but where the belief kind of really culminated, especially with being on the road in November, and it was really circled on the calendar as maybe the one that they weren't going to be able to pull off, and they showed the full force of what they were able to do, and then brought that down to Tucson last week, and it's been a really good time. And again, thank you so much for being here. And I'm sure everybody in here appreciates it as well.
Hey, last thing I'll add, and I know when I hopped on earlier, people were talking about traveling to Dallas, and I know it's hard on short notice. But I think the cool part about the Big 12 for me so far is that every campus we've been on has been a blast. And it's been fun to see new parts of the country. It's been fun to see campuses that we're all not familiar being on often. The atmospheres are incredible. These are tough stadiums to play in. These are really passionate fan bases. And I just encourage any of you, as you're traveling around and as schedules match up and you got a chance to play us or see us play on the road, it's been a really fun thing to experience. And I think one of the benefits of going into a new conference is that you just get exposed to a different way of doing things that have been familiar. And every week we come back with some ideas that we kind of put into our planning for next year. And I just encourage it. I think it's a cool part of experiencing college sports and experiencing the same passion that we have for ASU in different settings. And so K-State was a tough place to play, but it's nice to get out of there with that kind of a win. So anyhow, I'm going to hang on, guys. Thanks for letting me join. And I'll try to make this more of a routine get together and look forward to hearing what everybody else got to say.
We got to turn it over to if there was a Sun Devil Spaces Hall of Fame, first ballot Hall of Famer, and the original physical number 4 at running back for the Arizona State Sun Devils.
Ralph.
Yes, Kyle.
I got to jump in before you introduce this guy because this has been on my mind, man. This is why we're doing this shit. Oh. You do this every week because Demario Richard, who's about to speak right now, is every part of this, like a more of a part of this than anybody even knows. Like laying the foundation.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
So this is like, I thought about this weekend. I'm like, all those guys, like I've already told Demario this, but like one of my all-time top 10 favorite Sun Devils, any sport, but he deserves this to enjoy this more than anybody. And like, if anybody doesn't think that guys like him aren't a huge part of why we're here, then just go somewhere else. But anyway, go ahead, man. I'm done for the night. Love you guys.
Yeah, he's Demario's jumping back in. I don't think he could hear you. So, I just invited him back in. Demario Richard, you just got a hell of an introduction from Kyle Dodd. And I agree, man. I think you're a Sun Devil Spaces first ballot Hall of Famer. And you did. You really helped lay the foundation. If it was up to you, ASU would have been there 5-6 years ago, the way that you helped recruit and build this team while you were a player, the attitude you had. So, man, take us through it. Arizona State Big 12 champs, man. What's on your mind?
KD, I ain't going to lie. I didn't hear a word you said, but I appreciate the introduction.
He was gassing the hell out of me, man.
That's my dog right there. I appreciate that. That's one. 2, Cactus Sports. I appreciate everything you've done. I've been ordering from you since I was a recruit in high school. I got some stuff from your site. I do definitely need a hate shirt. If you're the guy to get in contact with about the hate shirt, let's figure something out. If you need me to come out there and sign some stuff for you too, so you can get it out on the shelves, let's do that too. That's number 2. And number 3, I was just like KD. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm just like, we up by how many touchdowns right now, and then we fumble, and then it's like, oh man, here we go. What's gonna happen? It's just like we always get the, excuse my language, the shit end of the stick. But I turned the channel and then turned it back, and the first thing I seen was Cam running down the sideline. So I'm just like, all right, yeah, no, this is real. No, this is like really real, like really, really real. And I was literally supposed to be there. All my teammates was there. I was literally supposed to be there. And the week I'm supposed to come, my son gets sick. So I'm like, I can't even come. So I'm still kind of on the edge of like, do I buy this ticket to go to the Peach Bowl? Or like, do I just wait it out more? Because I don't want to be the reason why we lose either. If we've been winning while I'm at home, I don't want to come to the game and we lose. But I'm just excited, man. And then like you got like Jacob, congratulations too, by the way. Like y'all said, man, it'll be crazy to go and see a Pac-12 semifinal game. But the craziest part is it'll be crazy because that's a Todd Graham philosophy on both ends. So it's kind of like, man, like I understand the Pac-12, but it's Coach Dillingham versus Coach Landon. Like that shit been kind of real since when they was there at doing GA and quarterback stuff.
Dragging cones around in practice. Todd Graham gave both of them their first job.
So it's kind of like I'm excited to see that more than anything else because I know where those two guys came from. Like Coach Lanning was one of the guys that was there recruiting me. Kenny, I was in the room with Kenny all the time because he was the quarterback coach. And you guys know how me and Norvell was when I was there. Well, he was there for the first 2 years. That's my guy. So like, I'm with them every day. I'm excited to see that. Now, the Clemson in Texas. Now, I wouldn't mind playing either one of them. It don't matter to me. It's gonna be a good game. Either way it go. But I want to see the masterminds go at where. I want to see Sark's offense versus Kenny's offense. I want to see what when you get in that room and you got to get on that whiteboard. What do you see? Like, I want to be in that room to where I pick Kenny's brain for a day to see what he sees against Texas, and I want to be in the room with Sark to see what he's done. Obviously, I got a relationship with Sark when he was there up at Washington. Like, that's my guy too. And when I was with Atlanta, so I kind of like seen what both of them done. So I'm just excited, man. I'm glad it's happening now. Like, I see guys arguing with Jalen Strong about this being the best ASU team and all type of crazy stuff, man. But I'm just excited that it's happening now. I'm just excited that we beat them Rats. I was dumb hyped for that. Dumb hyped for that game. Dumb hype. I believe I was texting Tim throughout the game, and then like Cactus Sports said, just give me 2 more wins. I knew what we was gonna do to Iowa State. Like, they didn't stand a chance, bro. They didn't stand a chance. You come in and try to run the ball, and then you stop the run like that. Come on, bro. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah, and we got a few other Sun Devils in the college football playoff. I don't know if anybody knew this, but we got Gary Chambers over there with SMU.
Coach Grizz at SMU.
Yeah, Coach Grizz at SMU, and Rob. If we got any Rob Likens fans, I know.
Yep, Coach Likens.
Fans love. Yeah, he's out there too. We got Jordan Clark out there with Notre Dame. That's a Sun Devil graduate. For those of you who don't know this, the only Clemson player that they have ever taken through the portal, and it wasn't to be a player, it was to be a player coach, is Paul Tyson, former ASU backup quarterback. So we got the college football playoff littered with a few Arizona State connections, and I'm kind of rooting for everybody that's ever donned the maroon and gold. But I know you want to see ASU go up against Texas. Colin Simmons as an edge rusher scares the hell out of me. But other than that, man, I think ASU could hang.
I mean,
in fact, I didn't even want ASU to get a bye. I wanted them to play tomorrow.
I didn't either. I didn't want them to get a bye either.
Like, they are on fire. I want whoever they line up against to be like on the other end of how electric this team has been lately.
Yeah, man. And I don't know, man. It's just like, it's different. I get that 2013-14 feel with just a little more like players, coaches. Like, you got Hines Ward, you got Kenny, obviously. You got the running back coach who's been doing a hell of a job.
Guano, man. He's
been doing a hell of a job. So, like, and then you got Coach Moans was he at Saguaro?
That was Saguaro, yep.
Yeah, he was at Saguaro. Like, you got some guys. I actually met with him at Glacier. So, like, I know what their mind is. And what Coach Arroyo is doing is something crazy, too, because I know, like, him and Kenny get in that room, and it's just like, man, if you an offensive mind, like an offensive freak, bro, that meeting room is crazy. And he got Hines Warren in that room. So I'd love to be in that room just to hear football talk.
Yeah, and I mean the postseason awards talk is crazy. Leaf Fountainu, the center's up for Polynesian Athlete of the Year. Marcus Arroyo's up for the Broyles Award. Kenny Dillingham won Big 12 Coach of the Year. He's going to be a finalist for National Coach of the Year. You got Cam Scatterbo probably should have been on that Heisman stage, but they don't. It seems like they don't respect. I know what Ashton Genty's doing is historic, but it seems like they don't want to respect when's the last time we saw multiple running backs on that stage? So,
man, y'all got to remember what was just happening in the NFL. They was trying to cancel us out. They was trying to cancel us out in the NFL a couple years ago. Now, look, you got arguably two running backs that could be first round coming out. And they was just worried about not paying them. And then now you got what Saquon Barkley is doing up there. So now then it's just like you're gonna have to pay them. Like, I love what Genty is doing. Look, I'm a realist. Like, I love what Genty is doing. But I said this once I seen them play against Oregon. I said, he's good. But I want y'all to go look at the first 4 weeks and go look at his offensive line. You can go put Jacob Brimhall behind them, and he'll run for damn near 2,000 yards. You can put Goose back there. You could put Goose back there, he'll run for 1,500, 1,600 yards. When you're not getting touched until you're into the second level, and he has speed. He has speed. That's one thing we cannot deny. If you're not getting touched until you get to the second level, and all you gotta do is make the first man miss, you better run for 1,800, 2,000 yards.
Yeah.
You better run for that. And he not splitting time. You getting 30 carries down there, 30 carries a game, bro.
I gotta tell you, man, 1,500 yards receiving, 1,500 yards rushing, 500 receiving in just 12 games. Brian Leonard did it in 2005. Christian McCaffrey did it, and Cam Scatterbo, and that's it in the last 2 decades at the Power 4 level, Power 5 level. And, you would figure that would be worth an appearance. And everybody who got invited absolutely deserves to go. But it would have been really, really cool to see a kid from Sacramento up there on that stage representing ASU.
It would have been cool just to see somebody from Arizona State up there. Because they don't even respect us. Like, it's been like that, though. Remember how they was talking about us when we played UCLA, when we was playing them for the Pac-12 South? They thought we didn't stand a chance. They thought we didn't stand. It's always been like that. We've never gotten the respect. That's why I hope we win. I hope we win it all. Because then we win it all, I don't want to hear shit. Y'all see what Saban talking about? Saban is arguably one of the best coaches ever. He's talking about little old Arizona State. Come on, bro. There's something there. And watch. If we go to the semifinals, watch how much our NIL. Watch our NIL. It's gonna be crazy.
You used to come on here, and when we were talking about the possibility of Kenny Dillingham, and you used to say, just if it happens, just wait and see.
I'm telling you.
Now, I need you to be honest, though, Demario. Year 2?
Year 2?
Year 2? Do you think it would be this by year 2? Because you're the one. You are really the one who said, like, I said, I think he could be good, but it's unproven. It's a big responsibility for somebody that young. And you were like, no, this is the one you want. This is the one who will get you there. But here we are 24 months into the process at playing for the college football national championship.
Now, look. Y'all know me. I'm going to always keep it real. I didn't think we was going to make the college football playoffs. But I didn't think we was only going to lose one game neither. I'll just put it to you like that. But once I seen them, like, I'm going to tell you, once I seen them say we was going to lose to Texas State, I said, yeah, they got us fucked up. We not losing to no Texas State. And then once I seen that, it was kind of like that game right there kind of molded everything together. Then once they started molding together, and then Tyson started coming on, and then next thing you know, Cam just really started doing what he was doing. I'm like, oh, yeah, it's a real possibility. But like KD said, I always used to get there, turn the game on, we'll be up 21-7, blinking, and now it's 28-27. I'm like, come on, bro, what we doing? That's real Sun Devil though. Like, I understand Kyle, when you said literally you sitting there with the Sun Devil casuals and you like, man, oh shit, here we go. And they looked at you and said, like, what are you talking about? That's because you don't pay attention. You only pay attention to when we're really good.
Yeah, that's true. We'll make things interesting for no reason.
Man, no reason. And it's been like that for years. I don't know though. Yeah. I'm excited though.
I'm excited too. I mean, hey, hashtag get Demario to the Peach Bowl. I don't know if it's you. See, I went down to Tucson. Everybody got mad at me for not wearing gold, but when I was at the bar outside the stadium for the Big 12 championship, I had everything the same, down to the boxers. Socks, shoes, everything the exact same. So I got the same superstition. I think we got enough superstitious people that it would cancel you out even if you were bad luck. So,
man,
if you can make it happen, make it happen.
I'm scared, man. I don't know. I get nervous about stuff like that.
It's going to be you?
Yeah, I think it's me.
I feel you.
I think it's me. Well, okay, let me ask y'all a question, though. So, would you rather see would you rather see we understand what the bracket is. Now, if you had Georgia and Texas playing, which one would you rather see first?
Georgia or Texas?
Georgia or Texas. If it wasn't between Clemson and Texas and it was Georgia and Texas.
Texas.
No Carson Beck. I want Georgia now, tomorrow.
No Carson Beck?
No, he's done. I think he's got maybe Tommy John.
Man, the only thing that makes me nervous is how big they'll be up front on the defensive line.
Yeah.
With Texas and Clemson. Georgia, they gonna play football. But Texas and Clemson, I'm just scared for them up front, bro. Up front, because if they load the box on us, like I love our other receivers. I love them. But if they load the box on us, they're gonna have to play man coverage. You gotta win your one-on-ones.
Yeah.
I only want Georgia if Jaden Rashad is starting.
Oh man.
Oh man. I love that kid though. Well, kid, 20. I love that 21-year-old freshman.
Whoa.
He is.
21-year-old freshman?
Yes, sir.
What is that, like a double holdback?
Something like that, yeah.
See, 21-year-old freshman? I was 17, bro. I could never.
I know you were, but I can't hate. I took Algebra 1 4 times in high school.
Hey,
so
but you wasn't a 20-year-old senior.
That's true. Yep. No, you were. It was you and that Okoye dude that played for Louisville, two youngest, and now this Alabama wide receiver.
Yeah, Ryan.
The 3 youngest players I've ever seen.
Ryan, he's dope. Hey, KD, I see y'all doing your thing on basketball. Like, what you think this year in league?
Kyle, he wants to know, are we winning a national championship in football and basketball this year?
Imagine that.
That would be ridiculous.
Hell yeah.
Mill Street will never be the same.
Hey, I would just go to sleep. Just put me down.
That's the end.
Put me down. My mom forever and ever told me that she thought the bad luck that we had was because the devil was in our name. But I'm like, well, Duke's won a lot of national championships, so we're good.
Yeah,
like that ain't it. But if we won a natty in football and basketball this year, just put me to sleep.
So thanks again to everybody who listens to the Forecast. That was at ASU Athletic Director Graham Rossini. That was former ASU running back Demario Richard, who I feel like definitely doesn't get enough credit for the foundation that he laid. You can support this podcast by subscribing, reviewing, sharing, and of course, Charlie Hustle, who is the title sponsor of this show. If you'd like to advertise on this show, hit me up. You can reach me at ralph.amsden@gmail.com or ralph@arizonavarsity.com. End this podcast the same way we end Spaces, same way that we end everything, thinking about gratitude. If you live with a heart of gratitude, the world is a wondrous place. Forks up. This has been the Forecast. We'll catch you next week.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.